The telegram had promised a husband, a home, and a new beginning. What Elizabeth Carter got instead was a dead man's ranch, a grieving boy who wouldn't speak, and a brother-in-law who looked at her like she was just another problem. She stood in the dusty yard of the Double R Ranch, her city shoes ruined, her trunk suddenly laughable, wondering if a woman could die from humiliation alone. The journey from Boston had taken 3 weeks. Elizabeth had clutched Thomas Carter's letters until the paper grew soft, memorizing every promise. A partnership, a helpmate for his ranch, a mother for his son. She hadn't expected to arrive for a funeral. "You're saying Thomas died 2 weeks ago?" Elizabeth's voice came out steadier than she felt. The brother-in-law, Cole, finally turned to look at her. He was tall with sun-weathered skin and eyes the color of a winter sky. "Pneumonia took him fast. We sent a telegram to Boston, but I reckon you were already on your way." The boy, Benjamin, stood partially hidden behind his uncle's leg, watching her with eyes too old for his 10-year-old face. "I'll take the next stage back east," Elizabeth said. "I don't want to be a burden." "With what money?" Cole's words were blunt but not unkind. "Thomas already paid your passage." Elizabeth had $17 and change. Barely enough for a week's lodging, let alone passage back to Boston. And what was waiting for her there? The ruin of her reputation, the whispers that had followed her after her father's embezzlement trial. "Can you cook?" Cole asked. "Yes. Clean, mend, handle basic accounts, all of it. We need help. If you're willing to stay on as housekeeper, you'll have room and board and a fair wage." "Not a wife. A housekeeper." Elizabeth swallowed her disappointment. "I accept." The first week passed in a blur of labor. Her hands grew rough, her back ached. Benjamin remained a silent shadow, present but unreachable. On the 8th day, Cole found her struggling with bread dough and took over with surprising competence. Catherine was the banker's daughter in town, Cole said as he worked. Beautiful, proper, trained for city life. The ranch near killed her. She hated the isolation. Childbirth took her, and Thomas spent the rest of his life trying to make it up to a boy who'd never know his mother. "I'm not trying to be Catherine," Elizabeth said softly. Cole looked at her, really looked. "No. You're not like her at all." The turning point came when Elizabeth found Benjamin in the barn, crying over a lame cat. "She's hurt," he said, the first words she'd heard him speak. "Papa would know what to do." Together they made a splint. As they worked, Benjamin whispered, "Mama died when I was born. I think it was my fault." Elizabeth drew him close. "Your birth wasn't your fault. I didn't come here to replace your mother. I came because I needed a new start, just like you need someone who will stay. So maybe we can help each other." "You have to promise not to leave," Benjamin said. "I promise." When they emerged, Cole was watching with an unreadable expression. That night at supper, Benjamin talked about the cat, about his chores, about a hawk he'd seen. Cole smiled, a real smile that transformed his face, and Elizabeth felt hope bloom in her chest. Spring roundup came with its chaos. On the last day, a storm rolled in. When Cole finally stumbled through the door, he was bleeding from a head wound and holding his arm at an odd angle. Elizabeth moved on instinct, cleaning the gash, then relocating his dislocated shoulder with a decisive pull. Through it all, Cole watched her face. When she finally stepped back, trembling with reaction, Cole followed her to the kitchen. "I was terrified when you didn't come back," she admitted. He cupped her cheek. "I'm here. I'm fine." Then he kissed her. "I think about you," Cole said roughly. "More than I should. I know I got no right, but I can't stop." "I think about you, too," Elizabeth whispered. "I'd like to court you properly. With your permission." "Yes," she said. "Yes, I'd like that." 6 weeks later, Cole took her to a high meadow overlooking the ranch. "I love you," he said simply. "I love your strength, your stubbornness, the way you never gave up. I love how you are with Benjamin." He held out a simple gold ring. "Marry me, Elizabeth." "Yes," she said, watching joy transform his face. Benjamin rode up moments later. "Did she say yes?" he called out. "She said yes," Cole confirmed. Does this mean you're going to be my aunt or my ma? Benjamin asked. Elizabeth's throat tightened. You can call me whatever feels right. I think ma, Benjamin said. If that's okay. That's perfect, Elizabeth whispered. They were married 3 weeks later with Benjamin as best man. It wasn't the elaborate wedding she'd imagined as a girl in Boston. It was better because every word was true, every moment was real. That night, as they drove home under a canopy of stars, Benjamin drowsing between them, Elizabeth leaned against Cole's shoulder. She'd come west looking for safety, for any life that wasn't the ruins she'd left behind. Instead, she'd found true love, a family of her own, and a place where her strength was valued. Think you'll miss Boston? Cole asked quietly. Elizabeth smiled. Not even for a second. Later, in the darkness of their room, Cole held her close. What are you thinking? He murmured. That I came here to marry a stranger and ended up finding myself instead. I love you, Cole Reeves, she said. And I'm going to keep saying it for the rest of our lives. Good, Cole said. That's exactly what I was hoping for. Outside, the Montana wind whispered through the prairie grass. Inside, a new family slept under one roof, a man who'd learned to love again, a woman who'd discovered her strength, and a boy who'd finally found the mother he needed. They'd all been broken in different ways. Together, they'd made each other whole. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed Elizabeth and Cole's story, please leave a comment letting me know where you're watching from and subscribe for more Western historical romances.